Today we're going to do my week's Pickems. We're going to start off though with the best and worst round of the last week. The best round is going to go to one of the best aces you will see in some time from Darion.
At least considering, or at least worried about a push themselves.
Oh, Darion. He's got a chance to go for a target here. They are pretty close.
Oh boy.
He could go. Oh, nasty shot, but he kind of bumped into Crazy Guy, and Crazy Guy just held his position. Darion's still here. Wants more blood if he can. Right around the corner. He peeks out. Look at who's just hiding around there, and it's going to be Texture. Backs away. Somehow manages to survive with his life.
Oh, what a shot from Darion! Headshot mid-air with the blades.
Absolutely bonkers shot from Darion here, and he's not done. Quick scope into the cranium of
Mid-air! Darion, is he back? Yes, he is!
And the worst round of the week here is going to go to NRG for playing this comp that doesn't have much information. And on the very first round of this pistol round here, they're going to manage to get triple flanked on C with no idea that it's going on.
We know how G2 are going to try to approach this. They're a slow-paced team, and this composition, we've seen it tons of times before. It's NRG that are the wild cards here. Victor's holding metal, ready to do a lot of damage if this is a C exec. Think about what they've got, the tools that the defense has to work with. Paranoia, metal, very difficult to get through that if you're trying to do and execute into it. But we already see the deadlock wall going down. Only provides you 30 seconds of safety. And then suddenly A is a lot more open.
That's the trouble with G2, is that they will literally run down the clock first 40 seconds, essentially, and just waiting out the initial util, seeing if there's an aggressive play on the other side of things. And NRG's comp, you know, as much as it is cooking, it is lacking some of the basic necessities. You're going to see an exec now from G2. No one waiting onto the B site. NRG won't be able to really meet this one here, and it's faking a pivot. Utah will just try and at least disguise their intent as they head over towards the C side, and they have bricked it open.
So strike one to Val in there.
Yeah, they would go on to lose the round, but I'm not going to make you watch any more NRG. Let's get into the pick'ems, and we'll start with Pacific here, the last Pacific games to talk about. We got Paper Rex versus RRQ, and I think I will be picking Paper Rex, who do have something to play for. They do need to kind of win these games to secure the kind of top 2 seed to get a bye and then make your chances all the better. Avoid the single elim. Gen G versus Global. Obviously, Pacific is in a bit of a weird state because all the playoffs are already secured, so you know, it is what it is, but of course I'm going to pick Gen G. Same for DRX over DFM, who also just need to win to make sure they are a top 2 seed team as well. Zeta Division versus Talon. I mean, look, I'm just going to pick the playoff teams. I'm sure someone will lose. I mean, this is probably like the one good game. I mean, I guess Paper X RQ is okay, but you know, Gen G versus Team Secret could be a close game, could be an interesting game, could be a playoff matchup as well. We could get this game as well, depending on how things go in the single elim, which would be interesting because I do think both these teams are, you know, probably have a pretty decent chance. You know what? I'm going to say that this is Team Secret's time. I'm going to go with a bit of surprise. I'm going to say Team Secret win. Again, there won't be a ton of meaningful match in this game, particularly if Paper X and DRX have already won. This game might not matter at all, but it is what it is. And then you've got Paper X versus Zeta Division. Obviously, I'm going to go Paper Rex there. And then T1 versus Bleed. Can Bleed get on the board at the end of the season? No, because T1 are better. Okay, moving on to EMEA, and our first game today here is Team Heretics versus Giants. Giants have been improved, and they have made a roster change, taking out Redgar as well, but I'm going to pick Team Heretics over anyone right now. Foot versus Gentlemates, I'm going to pick Foot. Again, these teams do have something to play for in terms of trying to get that top seed. If both these teams win out, they will be the top 2 in EMEA, so there is things to play for these teams. Koi versus Na'Vi, I mean... This one's an interesting one, right? How far do we think Na'Vi have fallen? Is there any chance that they actually lose this game to Koi? I think there is a chance that they lose this game to Koi. If the vibes are truly that bad at Na'Vi, they could lose this game. However, I think what will save Na'Vi is that they do have something to play for, right? If they win this game, you know, their chances of making the playoffs are not too bad, right? So there is still something to hold on to hope for Na'Vi. If maybe they had one less game won, I think they might lose this game, but I think that even though they're struggling mightily, I think that they will pull it out because they have something to play for. Team Liquid versus Karmine Corp. I mean, big game for both these teams. If either of these teams lose their playoff, I mean, if Team Liquid lose, they're pretty much out. If Karmine Corp lose, then they're in big jeopardy as well. I just can't pick Team Liquid based off what I saw last week. I think that they obviously need to fix their Ascent comp for a start, but there are other things as well that I just don't think they were very good at all against BBL, so I will pick Karmine Corp for that one. BBL versus Vitality. Now, this is actually quite a good game. Two teams that are kind of in the mix for the playoffs in EMEA. Definitely could go either way, this one. So it's tough, but I kind of like what I saw from BBL in their last game, so I am actually going to pick BBL. I think they'll have a bit of a strong late season surge there, and then Team Heretics will be Gentlemates. Okay, quickly on to China. Now, the China games actually started today, which I did not realize. So the picks are locked. Unlock ETMV. I mean, how was my pick'em doing? Not awful, but you know, I wasn't gonna finish first or whatever, so I'm not too bothered. I mean, here I am on 50 points. So yeah, I'll just quickly tell you who I would have picked for these games. I would have picked Trace, who I think are winning as I'm recording this. Then I would have picked FPX, of course. I would have picked probably JDG. You know what? I would have gone Wolves for the last game. Why not? I would have gone Trace over Tech. Probably BLG over EDG, who have changed their coach, so you know, we'll see about this game. I would have gone AG over JDG, and I would have gone FPX over Tyloo. This would have been my pick'ems, just so you're all aware, when Wolves beat DRG. And then finally, we have Americas. And in Americas, some interesting games coming up. We've got G2 versus Crew. Could be a very, very good game. Of course, we haven't finished the previous week just yet. I'm already regretting this because I really think there's no chance that this happens, by the way. I think Crew will have an easy win here, but we'll see if 100 Thieves can beat MIBR as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Crew will win this game. Anyway, G2 versus Crew. Should be a closer game. We'll see how Crew look with their newer roster. You know, it might not be an easy game here for either side, but I see it's tough. I think that G2, though, I mean, we saw it in the playoffs when they played against Crew, of course, as well, to qualify for Shanghai. I think that G2 just deal with that kind of team pretty well. And I think we'll see that again. So I'm just going to pick G2. Loud Lev, I mean, this is just the flipped fortunes of two you know, the two South American powerhouses, you might have said, you know, have just been flipped, essentially, in terms of, you know, coming off Shanghai. Perhaps people had some hopium for Loud. That is now gone with their loss to Furia. Everything's falling apart. Sedak on Julius clearly doesn't work. Lev just looks so good that I don't think it matters anyway. You know, even if Loud didn't have these problems, I still think I'd pick Lev because they just look really, really good right now. And yeah, they did have a bit of a benefit of winning all the pistols against EG, and so, you know, if you flipped maybe one of those pistols around the sunset, maybe they don't win that map. But yeah, I still think Lev looking just very good. Aspas is good. MIBR Furia, wow. Look at you go, Furia. Furia can actually still make playoffs. This has kind of become a bit of a meme that, you know, they might win their last 4 games here. And I guess I have to pick them over MIBR, even though MIBR also looked a little bit better as well in their game, I thought, with their, obviously they won their first map. Then again, it was against Loud, who maybe are the worst team in Americas now. Who knows? But yeah, I'll pick Furia for this one. Cloud9 versus NRG. I think I'm gonna make a video by NRG. If they lose this Crew game in particular, I'm gonna make a long deep dive into NRG and just really everything that's bad about them, because it's quite a lot. So I guess I have to pick Cloud9 because of that. But I don't feel confident in Cloud9. Obviously, they played against Sentinels. It wasn't really close. You know, I think Cloud9 kind of showed who they were in this game. That's like, they're not an awful team, but I'm not expecting them to go to champs at this point. But I think they'll be NRG. And then EG versus 100 Thieves. Now, this could be a very, very big game indeed. Right? If 100 Thieves do beat MIBR, after EG lost to Lev, this might decide like the final playoff spot, basically, as whoever wins this, assuming that 100 Thieves beat MIBR. If they don't beat MIBR, then 100 Thieves are just washed. So this will probably be the biggest game of the season for these two teams. Even though EG did lose, and particularly that their Icebox comp is horrible. It's horrible. It makes no sense. It's not very good. They had a couple ideas with it, but it's not very good. 100 Thieves are bind merchants, and even they're losing bind to, you know, Lev and whatever now. So I still think EG will have the better of it, because I think their map pool is probably better on the whole, even if their Icebox sucks.